Freedom fighters, I'm coming back at you with another one. Coming at you live from the Walmart parking lot. So hopefully it's not too noisy here. We'll see what happens. But yeah, man, today's video topic, we're going to talk about a saying that I realize I'm going to add to my long growing list of things that grind my gears. So, I heard this comment, and you hear it a lot, but I think it was on my Veterans Day video or my recent video where I said people were trying to, join Trump's military and everything now that he's in, or, they're excited to join, a patriotic military. And, I mentioned, I'm never going to fight for this country in uniform, but I will fight for this country in, other ways is what I was talking about. And then I said, of course, if it ever comes down to Red Dawn or something like that, and people are parachuting through the skies, and, you see boots on the ground, and there's, foreign trucks going around and all this stuff, and they're clearly invading, then yeah, I'll gladly fight for this country, because then it will be clear that our country is under attack. But, all these other, foreign wars and stuff like that. And you can hear it right from past veterans' mouths in that video, the Veterans Day video I posted, where the guy was like, once you get in, you have no say where you're going or what you're doing. You're just property of, the U.S., your U.S. government property, and they'll send you off. But anyway, someone wrote a comment there about, if they invade and stuff like that, and they say, oh, nobody will ever invade because behind every blade of grass is a what? Behind every blade of grass is a coward. And you know what the real saying is? It's behind every blade of grass there is a firearm. And it comes from the Japanese general, I believe that's who it was, from the World War II or World War I. I can't even remember what it is, but you know the saying. And it was just like, when they were deciding to invade the, United States homeland, he said, you can't do it. It's impossible because there's firearms behind every blade of grass, and they basically have, the largest standing army, civilian militias. And this is what most countries don't have, because they don't have the right to bear arms. Yeah, they might have large populations. We talked about China. They're not allowed to possess firearms, but they have, a billion people population, hundreds of millions of, duty, fighting age males ready for duty that they can arm up and get ready for battle. Well, they don't have to do that in America because they're already armed. But, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because I was also like, man, this ain't those days. And when people make those sayings of like, oh yeah, if they ever try to invade, they're going to come up against, a fleet full of arms, and all the, Americans are going to come out of the woodwork and all that. And it's like, man, we're just not living in those times anymore. And, when they say that, basically what I was thinking, and recently we had this event with Nick from America First. You can't say the full name because, the tube will flag that, but you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, he recently had an event where someone came to his doorstep, and he, I think, kicked him off the porch, pepper sprayed him, told him, get it the F out of here. And there was talks about her pressing charges and all that, and it's like, you already know the deal. You showed up to someone else's house and you did that. And I believe he lives in Chicago. So, the rules, and they hate him there. You already know the deal. And there's no self-defense for people like that. You'll be looked at, in the court system. So, that's how that operates. Imagine if he was actually armed. And then in the whatchamacallit, in the comments or something, I saw a reply on Twitter. I don't know if you guys follow Lily, and I forget what her handle is. I think it's like Lily the Goddess or something like that, or Lilith or something like that. She's the self-proclaimed racist blonde girl. But anyway, I mean, you can look up her content, Lily. But she did a response video to that and said, yeah, Nick got doxxed and this lady showed up to his house and all that, and he pepper sprayed her. And she said she had similar experiences, that people were messaging her and, sending her pictures of her house and stuff like that. And she was like, if any of these people actually stepped foot on my lawn, they weren't going to leave alive. And again, not understanding that this isn't the America that we grew up in. This isn't that same America, that get off my lawn, kind of America. And everyone's armed up and, you have the attitude of you can protect your property. You're going to have these woke attorney generals, these woke prosecutors coming after you if you ever do that. And everyone's a coward now because that they know that this is what's going to happen. And the corrupt, justice and legal system is against them. And it kind of goes to that video I think I did on the Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton, where we talked about, a lot of these rural communities, you think of them as being the most prepared and the most ready, for these kind of events. And then, you realize that they're not really. And we talked about that health ranger comment where he said, how are these people not prepared for this? Like they don't, not the people who had their homes swept away or had their whole life destroyed or their family drowned and they lost, their family, because there is no preparedness for that. But for people who just couldn't get to the grocery store, right? Their grocery store got flooded out, or, their local community lost power, and they're like, a couple days down the road, people are like, we haven't eaten anything. We don't have water. It's like, how do you not have that? And it's something I brought up, that a lot of people think these rural communities, are like super prepared and ready for all this stuff. And it would surprise you that they're not. And I talk to a lot of these people, and I talked to them before. You think like all these rural communities, like they're all armed up, they all got stashes of ammo and all that, and some do. And I know those people. Those are the people, I choose to associate with. But then a lot of times, you talk around and people aren't ready for that, and they don't have that. And, there's a large swath of the community, too, that have criminal records. And we talked about that, felons' rights, Second Amendment felon rights and all that. And they bar a lot of people, man. Let me tell you, those rural communities, I've said it all along, that what they did to the black community in the 80s, the early 90s, and stuff like that with the crack epidemic and the war on drugs and stuff like that, they are focusing that now on rural America and, trailer park communities and small communities. And rural America has been hit hard, by like methamphetamines and fentanyl and all this stuff. And they're policing it hard. And a lot of these, downtrodden, poor rural Americans, you don't realize it, but they're getting their rights stripped away. They're, and again, you already know I'm talking to the wrong crowd, that you can't strip away rights. But at the end of the day, that's what's happening. That's what's happening to these people, and no one steps up and defends them. So, that's what's happening. And everyone expects if something goes wrong, or, if we get invaded, or if there's going to be a revolution, that everyone's just going to step up and, fight for the country and get their arms. It's like, you'd be surprised how little arms there are. You'd be surprised how many behind the blade of grass there is. And, everyone nowadays, we've talked about it. I had to play the game. When you make purchases, you fill out 4473s. They have the paperwork. It's been documented. they're going around taking pictures of forms from gun shops and stuff. They know what you have. Now, again, I guess you can go the criminal route and, buy a black market from some guy off the street. There's certainly a population that does it that way, but it's far a few in between, man. So this whole, again, it goes to the bravado, kind of like, we got this, and behind every blade of grass is a firearm, and if anyone ever messes with us, it's this overconfident, the same thing I've talked over and over, how everyone thinks fighting the left is going to be the easiest thing ever. And it's over in 24 hours, and, we'll knock those little pink-haired, 100-pound soy boys out, and we'll take this country over. You're fooling yourself, man. You're fooling yourself if you think it's going to be that easy. And again, if this country ever gets invaded, or we actually do have to have a civil war, a revolutionary type war to take back this country, it's not going to be as easy as you think it is. And you'll find out behind every blade of grass isn't a firearm. There's a coward. There's a law-abiding citizen. You'll look at your neighbor and be like, dude, why aren't you packing? Like, why weren't you ready for this? And maybe they just have their head up their ass and they're a complete sheep. But then I guarantee you're going to hear people who are like, oh, man, I was, barred from possession of firearms back in 85 when I caught so-and-so charge. I've met so many old people who were like, man, when I was a kid, I made a stupid mistake, and, this happened or that happened, and I can't get them. And I'm just like, man, that is a damn shame, because that is a, country-loving, constitutionalist there who deserves every bit of his rights, and they can't be stripped away, but that's what our government does, and again, that's what we've allowed. So yeah, man, that's the little rant today here from the Walmart parking lot. I figured I'd just get back at you guys and, again, just shoot the shit and have a convo. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, man, you know what it is. We are on our own. Nobody's coming to save you. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.